On today's edition of Fit Happens, we'll be going into the gym to do some cardio. Then we'll be having some food with a healthy snack in the kitchen and doing a class in aerobics. Hello, and welcome to Fit Happens. This is the show where we hope to inspire and motivate you to increase your fitness levels and decrease your fatness levels. My name is Chris Saremba from Fitness Over 50, and I'm joined by Keith Cormican. Keith, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. Now, tell me a little bit about your fitness story.
My fitness story, it's a long journey that I've taken here. I started off, I had an acting background. I went to college, I went to a 3-year drama school, and I got involved in theatre work. I worked at the Old Vic, I worked with some big names, at the Old Vic, Kevin Spacey and a few other guys. But I fell out of love with acting. Long story short, I went out on a lot of auditions, and I went out on an audition for a magazine, a men's health magazine, and I found that I actually got the gig, I got the job. So after I got that job, I got more into fitness related adverts and commercials. So then like one thing led to another, and then I got my qualifications as a nutritionist, a certified nutritionist, and I started getting I picked up a few clients along the way as a nutritionist. And as I said, one thing led to another, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the whole process of working with people, changing their physique if they wanted to gain weight, to gain muscle, or if they wanted to lose weight, to lose body fat. But I mean, I would always keep up, and as you could probably see a couple of the adverts that I did a couple of health chains where I just literally was the face on a billboard, and that actually grows so this was one that I did for
I recognise that advert.
Yeah, quite a well-known chain of health clubs. This was a long time ago, as you can see, a baby face then. It's about a good 10-15 years ago. So I keep up with my article writing, as you can probably see, and I write for different magazines, and I put the face to it as well, so I practice what I preach.
You haven't got the face, you got the face and the abs there, I think.
Well, maybe I haven't got the face for it, but
got the abs for it anyway.
Well, I'm not a massive guy, but I've always had abs, which is one of the benefits of like doing a lot of cycling, a lot of the nutrition does come down to that. I always say that abs are built, right, they're built in the gym, but they're made in the kitchen. It's 70% diet, and it's what you put into your system that's going to get abs. So, as I say, a long story I'm trying to cut short. I do a lot of writing for magazines. I do a lot of one-on-one training with people, nutrition-wise, and the articles help that. And to put my face towards it as well, and abs towards it as well, always helps.
Keith, that's great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Time for a question, and we're off to the estate agents to meet Matthew, a very busy man.
My question is, I'm very busy at work and I don't have much time. What exercise can I do?
Well, I think it's all about a question of priorities. Most people spend a lot of time doing things that perhaps they could substitute with some exercise. I read somewhere that the average British person spends 4 hours a day watching TV, so you could perhaps lose some of that towards exercise. If you exercise just a small amount, just say half an hour a day, that's only, if my mental math is correct, about 2% of the day. So if you can't afford 2% of the day into doing exercise, then I'm sure you can if you try very, very hard. But if you can't, if you're like Matthew, a very, very busy guy, haven't got time to do that, just try and get exercise into your life by moving more in your daily life. So rather than driving somewhere, if it's fairly local, walk somewhere or cycle. And if you're going to walk somewhere, walk more quickly. If you walk 30% more quickly than you normally would, you're going to burn 30% more calories, and by burning 30% more calories, you're going to attack some fat and build up some fitness levels. And also, of course, by walking more quickly, you're going to get to where you're going a bit quicker. So there's actually no downside at all in walking more quickly. So if you've really got no time for exercise, then just get it into your daily life by walking to places, cycling to places, and do all that kind of thing a bit more quickly. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fit Happens gym. I'm joined today by Manoj Kakkar. Manoj, hi, welcome.
Thank you.
And today we're going to talk a little bit about aerobic or cardiovascular exercise. I know this is something you do yourself anyway, so perhaps we can start by you telling me what is your standard aerobic or cardiovascular routine.
Well, I do two things. One is I'm a member of a walking club, so I go away probably about once a month to do a bit of fell walking. Another thing, which is, I don't know if this counts, I sort of cycle on a folding bike to work, so about 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening, but I don't think it's sort of particularly raises my pulse or anything that's important.
I mean they're great activities. I mean, hill walking, fell walking is fantastic. It's a long distance event, a long duration event. Won't raise your pulse rate up by very much. For most people, when they're looking at cardiovascular exercise or cardiorespiratory exercise, are looking to raise their pulse perhaps by a little bit more than you're doing your fell walking. Although I don't know, if you're looking down a massive great drop-off, maybe your pulse is high then, I don't know. And the same thing with your cycling to and from work. You're saying that's a fairly low
fairly low intensity, I would say. I don't feel exhausted or like I've sort of pushed myself at all.
Right, even so, you've probably accelerated the heart rate a bit, which has moved yourself into what's known as the fat burning zone. And that's why people do cardiovascular or cardiorespiratory activity, typically not using fell walking. And sometimes cycling to and from work is something they do, but often in a gym they do use some of this kind of kit we've got here. So treadmills, rowing machines, stairmasters, there's some cross trainers as well. There's a whole range of different cardiovascular or cardiorespiratory.
Are they all equivalent? So if you use one, does it meet your requirements, or do you have to sort of use a variety of?
They're all very different. I mean, some of them burn more calories per hour, which is a good way of differentiating them. One that involves going up and down stairs is usually the one that burns the most calories per hour. I guess the typical one that people most think of is a treadmill or a running machine. And that burns a healthy level of calories per hour, but some people don't find it very helpful because it can be quite painful on the knees. It can be quite a high impact activity, so not everybody goes for that. A favourite for a lot of people is the cross trainer. And the cross trainer is the one where your arms are moving as well as your legs are moving in an elliptical fashion. And this is a good exercise for raising the heart rate, therefore burning more calories, and also not being particularly high impact on the knees. So that's one of the ones I recommend to some of my new trainees.
And you mentioned, I think, sort of the word heart rate came up quite often in your sort of discussion. What's the importance of the heart rate?
Well, the whole exercise, this type of exercise is called cardiovascular. Cardio is to do with the heart, vascular is to do with the blood. I actually prefer the term cardiorespiratory because to me, vascular, which is the blood, is to do with the heart anyway. So cardiorespiratory is better because it's to do with breathing as well. So the whole area of cardiorespiratory or cardiovascular is all to do with heart rates. And for most people, they have some idea of what their maximum heart rate is. And there's a whole series of bands of different levels that your heart rate needs to be in, performing different functions within the body. At a medium intensity, that's typically a fat burn level. So that's where the body is providing most of the fuel for your activity from its fat reserves. As you go into harder and harder activities, then the percentage of the amount of fuel from fat goes down as the percentage goes up from muscle reserves, muscle glycogen.
And just pick up on the point you mentioned, so obviously again, emphasis on heart rate. So you see a lot of people, I think there's on the machines, they tend to have measures, and also some people have these sort of monitors. What's your view? Are they important to actually pay attention to what they're showing you or can you just base it on how you feel? To perception of intensity.
There's multiple ways of doing it. There's a well-known scale called the Borg scale, which is and it's to do with the rate of perceived exertion. So people know how much they should be, how they're feeling by their amount of exertion. Heart rate monitors are great. I've got one of the latest ones myself that uses a laser technology, which is absolutely fantastic. But you can also perceive exertion as well. And the area where you start burning a higher percentage of muscle and muscle glycogen rather than fat is usually when you start getting slightly out of breath. If you think up until that level, we call it the aerobic zone, i.e. with oxygen. Above that becomes anaerobic, which is without oxygen. And although it doesn't actually mean the same, it doesn't mean out of breath, but you can use that as a rough guide. If you're starting to be out of breath, you can't talk in complete sentences easily, then you're moving into that anaerobic zone. And if you want to keep in the fat burning zone, you probably should ease off a little bit. Does that give you some good points?
Yeah, that's very good,
Great.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's probably about time we had to stop talking and how to go at some of these. So I'll see you later once we've finished on our cardio workout. We're off to the gym reception area now to have a question from Simon.
My question to you is, should I or should I not be drinking protein shakes?
Well, interesting question there from Simon. Protein shakes, lots of people think they're great, lots of people think they're bad. I think that they're great for the right person and in the right time. Protein is a great thing to eat. It's the most important macronutrient in terms of building the body and maintaining muscle mass. But not everybody can eat quite as much protein from natural sources as perhaps they should do for optimum results. So natural sources of protein, of course, are meat and fish and eggs, probably the big three, I guess. And that's great, and you can have as much meat and fish and eggs as you want to, but probably not as much as you'd need to maintain the optimum amount of protein needed for your muscles. So that's where protein shakes come in. Protein shakes are, generally speaking, more rapidly absorbed into the body than more solid forms of protein. One of the reasons for that is because they're liquid. Liquids get digested and absorbed much more quickly than solids. So protein shakes are great for absorbing protein more rapidly, and for that reason I would recommend a protein shake to most people straight after a workout. But that's my thought. Let's see if Keith's got any other ideas. Keith, what do you think about protein shakes?
I agree with you, and I also would add to that, you have your protein shake with your, I always build a meal from protein first and then work on from there, so then I'll build into the carbohydrates. You can get carbohydrates pretty much anywhere. So I start off with the protein source first. Now, protein shakes at breakfast, it's interesting that you say you have your chocolate protein and you put it into your oats. I
do indeed.
I have chocolate shake for breakfast as well, and I have oats with that. I have them separate though. I don't like the mixture of the taste between the two. So it's interesting that different people have different tastes for that.
But shakes in general?
But I recommend shakes. As you said, like it's one of the highest readily available sources of protein after a workout or anything like that. And secondly, another reason why I would recommend protein shakes, a lot of my clients haven't got time to eat. I haven't got time to eat. Don't give me that, they haven't got time to eat. How long does it take to have your protein shake? Minutes. You make it up, you shake, put it into a shaker, and it's perfect protein, if you can have that. So don't, as an excuse, it's easily digestible as well. I like breakfast, I like eggs sometimes, maybe at the weekends for breakfast. It takes longer. It takes longer to digest, it takes longer to make, so a protein shake would fit in perfectly with that also. Hi, welcome to Fit Happens. Welcome to my kitchen. This is going to be Fit Happens TV, and I'm joined today by a very special guest, the fitness athlete, Mr. Rob Chalmers. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning, Keith.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
That's good. And today we're going to go for a nice, perfect nighttime snack. Now, I remember the last time that we were together, we were talking about casein protein and whey protein, the differences between the two. To me, this is an ideal, quick, effective, cheap last meal before you go to bed.
Yeah, cool.
So, just very briefly, what would you normally have before you go to bed?
The milk, bit of casein powder, or even just a mix with yogurt.
Casein powder?
Yeah.
All good stuff. Okay, well, I'm just going to throw in another variation into that for you.
Cool.
We got some cottage cheese, which you can get from any supermarket. It doesn't have to be any particular brand. This is actually onion and chive. It's pretty much fat-free. It's all protein, casein protein, slow digesting, easy, nice going to bed.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we'll take it off. We'll take 1 spoon out. This is so simple. Anyone can do it. Serious, honest God. If you get natural flavoured cottage cheese, it probably works a little bit better than this.
Okay.
I didn't realise that this was actually onion and chive, but we'll go with it for now. We'll see how it turns out. We'll have one each. We'll just use a little. And what we're going to do with that is to try and keep it like, if this was plain, we want to like vary that up a little bit, like mix it up a little bit. So we've got some, again, good old standard whey protein. So we're going to get the best of both worlds. We're going to get the whey protein and we're going to get the casein protein going into your system at the same time. So this can be any particular flavour, just depending on what your flavour. What's your preference of protein?
It's banana at the minute.
Banana.
Mix it up, yeah, otherwise I get bored.
I've got a special for you today. I've got chocolate.
Fantastic.
Okay. So you're a fan of banana, I'm giving you chocolate. Okay. If you wanted to, it should make it a little bit more like you're feeling, get a bit more consistency in there.
Yeah.
What we can do is I'll do it with one first. Just add some water to it. What I'm going to do here, add some water to the protein. Not too much, just a little. Now even if that's too much, you can add some more cottage cheese with that. Put this into the freezer for about 10 minutes.
Right.
If it was chocolate, if it was banana, if it was vanilla, nice consistency. Maybe fill it a little bit more than this as a normal thing. We'll put it into the freezer, we'll take it out. After about 10 minutes it will come out like ice cream. It's going to be absolutely ideal, it's going to be perfect.
Sounds
so,
good.
in fact, you can smell that now. Can you smell it?
Yeah, it's strong.
Absolutely amazing. Find where the damn freezer is. Okay. So, interest. I saw your meals that you sent to us earlier on. I saw one of the meals was chicken.
Yeah.
Now, it was also wrapped around, you had some kind of funky ham going on there as well.
Yeah. Just trying to keep it a little bit exciting every now and then. It's a bit more of a treat.
Yeah.
So stuffed it as well. Have mozzarella in it and pesto.
Mozzarella, just normal standard mozzarella.
Just low fat.
Low fat mozzarella.
Yeah.
Okay.
So put that in there. Wraps it in the ham and oven, baked it. It's a bit of a treat. It stops it from being a bit plain.
Yeah.
And shows it my favourite sweet potato.
Sweet potato, always a good source of carbohydrates.
Yeah.
What would you prefer, sweet potato over like normal standard potato?
Yeah, just because it's the whole more natural source of carbohydrate.
All good stuff.
So,
yeah. Again, lower GI as well than the standard spuds. And your other meal that you showed us is like a pasta bake. Now, just out of it, we're going to show you the picture of the actual meal itself. The pasta, I understand. I get that. I saw some bits of meat in there. What was the meat?
So chopped up sausage.
Sausage.
And quite fatty.
Ideal source of protein. Yeah. Absolutely. No, sausage is fine. Sausage is fine. And what was the goo that was on the top?
I believe it was cheese. It was cooked for me by my housemates.
Right. So it wasn't your choice of meal necessarily.
No, it was one of their treats.
But it was cheese.
It was cheese as far as I know, yeah. I think it was a mix of cheese as well.
Again, so it's not bad. It's not a bad meal. Good choice, good option. You've got your protein, you've got your carbohydrates with that.
Exactly,
Standard meal for day to day. And this is a first for me as well because I've never had it with onion and chive. So if I was aware of that, I probably wouldn't have even taken this out. But we'll go for it. We'll see what it's like. But as I said, late at night, before you go to bed, this is pretty much ideal because it's going to fuel your body, it's going to keep your muscles going overnight, throughout the system. Do you want to grab a spoon?
Yeah.
And we'll go for it. Just go for a taste. As you can see, guys, if it took a bit longer in the freezer, you'd probably see that it would come out like ice cream, and it really is. And it's not ice cream. You know, it is pretty much spot on. So give it a go. Give it a taste. See what you think. But listen, that's quick, simple, and easy. Anyone could do it, perfect late night snack before you go to bed, and even throw some almond butter or some peanut butter into that as well, into the mix. Maybe next time try it without the onion and chive because I can actually smell the onion and chive more than I can smell the protein. Yeah. But it's going to be good for your system. So listen, Rob, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us again on FitHappens Kitchen.
Hi, well my next guest is Julie Wise, and Julie is an instructor for various classes at local gyms. Julie, welcome.
Hello.
So you teach a number of different classes. I think there's body combat, body jam and Zumba. Is that the full list?
That's correct, and I cover a variety of other sort of more conditioning classes when I need to.
Right, and these are all classes aimed at groups of people, men and women, or are they?
Correct. Yes. I do have men come to my classes. Even Zumba, I do have men come to Zumba too.
Right. Well, I've been to body combat with you several times, so I know what it's about. But for those people who don't know what body combat is, describe body combat to me.
Okay, so it is, at the end of the day, it is a aerobics class, but it has a martial arts feel. So basically you're kicking and punching in time with music. There's a preset choreography. It's developed by a company called Les Mills that are based out in New Zealand, and they do a phenomenal job. They pull together great music, great moves, and you could be doing a track where you could be doing, say, karate, kickboxing and boxing all in one track, and they just sort of pull it together in a proper choreographed style.
Right, so you're mixing together both the karate and the boxing and kind of MMA type movements.
Correct, yeah. We've got some Brazilian jiu-jitsu in there, some ground grappling moves, and you know, it's all interesting. So not only are the participants listening to great music and moving in time with it and getting a good workout, but they're also understanding the techniques of some of these martial arts. They're modified, but generally speaking, they try to keep it as authentic as they possibly can.
Right. And Zumba was the final thing we mentioned. Mm-hmm. I see the word Zumba everywhere. Every gym seems to have some kind of Zumba class going on.
So Zumba, as an organisation, have done a phenomenal job with the marketing, and basically they train their instructors up and give them some music and some choreography and say just go off and have fun.
Right.
So there is an awful lot of freedom in Zumba. So you can get some instructors that do loads of salsa, and then other instructors that maybe pick up more modern music and do their own choreography, and some pick up choreography that other people have done. And so you might go to a class and see choreography that you've done before, and there's that sort of feeling of sort of almost like a tribe, a Zumba tribe.
Right.
So it's great. It's a lot of fun, and I love teaching Zumba because anything goes really.
Great. So I was thinking about all of those 3 different types of classes.
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you have at once? How many is there in the class at one go?
Okay, well it varies. So say body combat, you might have 30 to 35 people if it's very full.
That's a huge number.
It is quite a lot of people. I mean, I've been to big events where you might have 200 people doing combat in a big hall, and that's great. I mean, it's such a lot of fun.
So in terms of keeping an eye on what the class is doing, are you facing the class, or are you got your back to class so they can actually mirror what you're doing?
Yeah, so generally speaking, all the Les Mills class, so body combat, body jam, body pump, balance, all of those, you face the participants, and they teach you to teach like that. Occasionally with something like body jam, which is quite difficult to explain what you're doing when it's a dance move, I might turn around and let people follow me. But generally speaking, they want you to face your class, especially if you haven't got mirrors.
Yeah.
It would be, almost dangerous not being able to see your class.
Yeah, exactly.
But something like Zumba, they teach you to be the other way, to let your participants follow you. And Zumba's very much more about the visual cues rather than the verbal cues.
Right. And as a means of getting fit, do you recommend this kind of group class is good for getting fit, or is it something that you should be doing alongside some other kind of fitness training?
Okay. There are people that come to classes and just do classes. I am one of those people. And for years I went in the gym and did running and stuff. But once I found the classes, I knew that's where I wanted to be. I love group exercise. I love being with other people and getting hot and sweaty and having a bit of fun with music. There are other people who do both. There's nothing wrong with that. People who like to run, but then they like to come to class and work out to music. And of course there are those people that are more than happy being on their own. My oldest daughter loves going to the gym, and every time I suggest, do you want to come to a class, she says no. I like to work out on my own, listen to my own music and do my own thing, and that's fine. That's fine. But she's very motivated. So the great thing about exercise classes, when you're with other people, you have an extra motivation, not a competitive necessarily, but it could be a motivation. The music might motivate you, or being around with your friends, or you feel a little less shy around other people. Some people find it a little bit daunting when they look in the mirror and see themselves. But I always think that's a positive thing. You can see where your body is and where you're moving, and you can pick up sort of problem areas, things that you struggle with or have a bit of difficulty with the technique.
And I guess another thing is it's a scheduled event, because if you're just going to the gym on your own or going out for a run on your own, you could say to yourself, oh, I don't feel like going today. But of course, if you know that your body combat class is at 10:30 on a Sunday morning, then you will go at 10:30 on a Sunday morning.
Plus also you'll have the instructor sending you a message on Facebook saying
where
are you coming this week?
Notice you weren't here last week.
No, it's not like that. But there is a very much more a community feel.
So, just drawing to a conclusion, would you recommend anybody to go and give it a go?
I think anybody should go and give a go. Go and speak to your instructor before this class starts and say, I'm new, I'm a little bit unsure, and any decent instructor will just turn around and say, you do what you can, I'll only stop you if I think you're doing something dangerous. And if you don't feel that you can do a full hour, tell the instructor you're only going to do 30 minutes, make sure you do some stretching afterwards, and then just keep on coming back and building on that.
Right. Julie Wise, thank you very much. And now I'm off to body combat class.
Guys, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time. We're off now to have some healthy protein in the form of some casein shake. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.